And here we are. We're going to do another parable together. I almost called it a proverb. I guess they're kind of like the Proverbs. Proverbs are one verses, and these are several verses, but they're similar. We're going to do a parable about the faithful and wise servant. I think that's a good title for it. But it also talks about an unfaithful, unwise servant. So you get both perspectives. We're going to be in Matthew chapter 24. Now, Matthew chapter 25 is a chapter I'm really excited to do. It's another chapter of only parables. It's 3 long ones. We might do individual videos. But I wanted to do this parable that comes right before chapter 25. It does a good job setting it up, but it has a really, I think, a good message, especially considering some of the crazy things going on today, some things that I am thinking about. And Matthew chapter 24, we'll start reading in verse 37 to set it up. That's where we're going to be. So let me get my phone and my screen share up and hot diggity dogging. And here we go. Get that down there. All right, so we're going to pick up in verse 24 of verse 37 of Matthew chapter 24. Okay. Jesus in Matthew chapter 24 was talking about things like the destruction of Jerusalem. And honestly, I think he starts even possibly talking about the destruction of the world. And so those of you who have done the Revelation class, if you read through chapter 24, the earlier stuff, you'll notice that it sounds similar. It's a similar kind of language, similar kind of imagery. And so since you've read Revelation, this might be familiar to you. But we're jumping at the very end. And he says, about those times, as it were in the days of Noah, so shall it be at the coming of the Son of Man. Just like back when when Noah was around, so it's going to be when the Son of Man comes. For as in those days which were before the flood, they were eating and drinking, marrying and giving in marriage until the day that Noah entered the ark. And they knew not until the flood came and took them all away. So shall it be at the coming of the Son of Man. So this is kind of a fun thing to draw. The idea that Jesus is saying is, here's Noah, and he has been building this big old ark for so long. And I don't know if this is what the ark looked like, but that's just a nice, easy way to draw it. And here's the door, and there's the plank for Noah to walk up inside. But I'm going to have the door closed, and because Noah and all the animals have gone inside, right? That's the idea. They came from all over, and they went inside. But the people are outside, and they're having a good old time, and they're eating, and I'm going to say they're eating chicken drumsticks. That's fun, although now it kind of looks like an ice cream. But they're eating their food, and they're having a good time, and they've got hands up in the air of hooray. I'll put a ring on his finger like he just got married, and he's eating chicken drumsticks at his wedding, and things are just good, and things are happy. And then all of a sudden, what happens after Noah gets into the ark?
Big flood.
Big flood. And the rains came down and the floods went up. The rains came down and the floods came up.
One time.
Rains came down and the floods came up, and they drowned. That's the story. I mean, it's really sad. They could have listened to Noah. It says in 1 Peter that Noah was a preacher of righteousness. And did they listen to his preaching?
No.
So the lesson is the end is going to come in just a similar way. So what does Jesus want us to do? He says, I'm going to, things like watch, therefore, watch because you don't know the day. He does another interesting story. If the master of the house had known at what watch or what time of night the thief was coming, he would have watched, and he would have not have allowed his house to be broken through. Think about that. If you know when the guy wearing the mask, although today, just because you're wearing a mask doesn't mean you're a bad guy. You know that, right? I mean, I was wearing a mask today, and I don't think I'm a bad guy. Anyways, here's the bad guy, and he's coming. He's going to break in, and he's trying to be secret, right? He's trying to be secret. That's him tiptoeing. There's his tiptoes. He's secret. But guess what?
What?
The master is all ready, and he's there, and he has, let's say it's a sword. He's got his sword. Do you think that this guy is going to be able to sneak in when the master's ready for him?
No.
No. And so he wants us, therefore, you also be ready. He's telling Christians, he's telling his children, he's telling all of God's people, be ready. Be ready. Don't let these things sneak up on you. Okay. So now he's going to give a parable of this faithful and wise servant. And then down here, he's going to talk about the evil servant. Okay. So this is where I'll write parable. So now we know where the parable is about to start. Okay. This is his parable to tell us to be ready. Who then is the faithful and wise servant whom his Lord has set over his household to give them their food in due season? Okay, so let's draw that. Here is the house that the man is in charge of, okay? There's his house. It's beautiful. It has smoke going up. I know that that's not what houses looked like in Jesus' day, but this is what a happy house looks like
Can
today.
you move the camera? Yeah, I can see it.
Oh, there.
Yeah.
Now you can see it. Good grief. Couldn't you just pretend? No, that would be silly. And I'll even give it a white picket fence, because if you have a white picket fence, it means that you're rich and you have everything you want in this country. I don't know why that's what a white picket fence means, but that's kind of what that means. And here's the beautiful shade tree, and it's full of apples and lemons, even though that's impossible. But here we have, it's a wonderful place. Oh, it's such a wonderful place. And here is the wise and faithful, I'll give him a beard because I haven't drawn a beard in a few minutes, the wise and faithful servant. And I'll give him some feet. There's his feet. All right, so here's this wise and faithful servant. The Lord, the guy who's in charge of the house, the man who actually owns the house, gave him the job. I'll make it like he's holding the keys to the house, okay? Him holding the key is like my way of drawing that he is in charge of the house. Does that make sense? It's his job, and he's going to give food. So I'll draw grapes because those are fun and easy to draw. That's the food he's going to provide. There's a leaf and the little stem and the twirly twirls. His job is to make sure there's food for the whole household, right? Oh, the wee babbies. Let's draw some wee babbies. There's the little wee babbies. And the older nurses that are scooped over that take care of them. Oh, the old grandmas that are there. The strong servants, I'll give them big old beefy muscle arms. There they are. So there's all these people that he needs to take care of, right? The wee babbies, the old grannies, there's the strong workers. Honestly, the strong workers, they could maybe beat him up. I mean, look at those beefy arms, right? So he is in charge of all these things. So here we go. Who then is the faithful and wise servant whom his Lord has set over his household to give them their food in due season? Blessed is that servant whom his Lord, when he comes, shall find so doing. Verily I say unto you that he will set him over all that he has. So here's the Lord. How do I draw? I'm going to draw him in a top hat. That makes him look like a lord, okay? And I'll give him an Abraham Lincoln beard and a prominent nose. There he is, and he's just looking. And he is looking at the way, well, how did this man take care of my household? And he's kind of folded in his arms, and he's thinking about it. And I don't know, that's a terrible drawing, but you get the idea. He is looking. This is the Lord. Now he looks like a pilgrim. I'll give him a pilgrim hat. All right, there we go. This is the pilgrim Lord. And he is looking at the way this man took care. Did he do a good job?
Mm-hmm.
That's absolutely right. And it says blessed. Blessed is that servant if he does the good job. Do you think it was easy, or do you think it was a lot of work to feed, take care of the wee babbies, the old lady and the strong man, and take care of the big fence and the lemon apple tree, and make sure there were firewood, and make sure that the house was warm, and then if the rains fell, it didn't flood away? And you think that was a lot of
Hard work.
a lot of work? Was it worth it? Was it worth it to do all that work? Yes. Okay, here's another question. I think this is an easy question. In the parable, who is this Lord?
God.
It's God. And so the idea is God has given us work to do, hasn't he? God gave us work to make sure that people have food, to take care of wee babbies, to take care of grandmas, to take care of the strong men. Honestly, they might be doing a lot of the help for us, but we got to look out for them. We got to make sure things are doing. And so what is Jesus telling us to do? When God comes back to see how we're doing, what do we want God to see? Does he want us to see that we're taking care of everybody?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, those old ladies can take care of themselves. No, that's our job. Those strong workers, they don't look good, or I don't like to be around them. They can take care of themselves. No, that's our job. Does that make sense? Now we're going to read the second half of the parable. But if that evil servant shall say in his heart, my Lord tarries. Do you know what tarries means?
It doesn't work.
No. The evil servant is saying that the Lord, that God is tarrying. That's another word for saying he's not coming. He's not coming yet. He's late in coming to check on me. So this evil servant thinks, well, no one's checking on me. And he shall begin to beat his fellow servants and shall eat and drink with the drunken. So here is the evil servant. I'll give him a beard too, but I'll give him a bumpy head. I guess that's hair looking now. And so what does he do? He looks at his watch and he sees, oh, the Lord isn't here. I can do what I want until he comes. So what does this servant do?
That's nothing.
Really bad stuff.
First, he punches. He punches his fellow servants, right? He beats them. Why does he beat them?
Because he wants to.
That's about the best reason you can give. Is there ever really a good reason to beat somebody? No, it's just you are being selfish. First, he beats them, and then he eats. Does that mean, do you think that this guy gets to eat?
No.
No. Here, I'm going to draw him. He's got a plate full of mashed potatoes with gravy and chicken bone. And there's this plate. He's eating it with a spoon, apparently, because I like spoons. All right. And what else does he do? He's going to drink with the drunken. So now he's reaching also for the wine glass. What did we learn about these wine glasses in the book of Revelation? Right. It isn't just that drunkenness is bad, but it's all connected to those sorts of sins. And so now he's hanging out with bad, ugly, lazy, fat-lipped, ugly, you know, the kind of bad people that are going to ruin him, right? Maybe they're going to want him to get into more fights. So that's what this evil servant is like. He says, God's not here yet. I have plenty of time to be a jerk, eat what I want, and live recklessly.
Maybe he does have time, but he's never going to go to heaven.
Well, that's a really good point. And here's what proves it. Look at verse 50. The Lord of that servant shall come in a day when he expects not. When he expects not. When is Mr. Top Hat, Pilgrim Hat going to show up?
Sooner than thought.
Right. And how's he going to feel?
Well, if he got drunk, it's too late.
Right.
If he didn't think about
He's going to
that.
come in an hour when he expects not, and shall cut him asunder. What's he going to do to him?
What's asunder? Slice him in half, basically.
Yeah, cut asunder is old-fashioned for cut him apart. This is extreme judgment. He's going to cut him asunder. He's going to appoint his portion with the hypocrites. He's going to cut him up and throw him out to be with the loser hypocrites, where there shall be weeping and gnashing of teeth. What do you think weeping and gnashing of teeth means he's going to go to?
Hell.
Yep. Here, and then he had kind of raggedy hair on the top. That's what's going to happen. All right, so this is the parable that Jesus gives us. Let me see if I can get. Oh, I should have drawn something on the board. Oh well, this is okay. See, this is again God, the master. God is angry. I mean, have you ever thought of an image of God cutting somebody up? That's what this parable is about. That's scary. I don't want to make it sound like that I think that God is this ugly person. I don't think he is. But it says he's going to cut him up. The weeping and gnashing of teeth, that sounds like hell, doesn't it? You know, we studied that in the other thing, the lake of fire. Right? That's what this is sounding like. So Jesus says, God has left us. Well, not like left us. We have God. But is God in the room looking over your shoulder saying, you should draw a better picture? No. God is not right here, and he's given us this work to do. He has told us to feed and care for others. And he's going to come back, and he's going to look. And if we are feeding people, if we are caring for people, we will be blessed. But if when he comes back and he sees that we didn't do that, oh, I did some of the jobs you wanted me to do, God, but I also punched people in the face, ate whatever I wanted to, and caroused with the drunkards. What's the result?
You go to
Like
hell.
a fire.
Weeping and gnashing of teeth and cut asunder. He's going to put us with all the other hypocrites. I think that's what all I'll do for that story, for that parable. I thought about having another passage, but I think I'm going to leave it there. But I think that that's an important lesson. Right now, you don't really have the ability to go out and get a big job and donate $1 million to help somebody out. But you have people that you can care for and help. You can take care of your siblings. You can take care of your parents. You can write cards to people who are sick. You can be nice to people even when you are frustrated or bored or angry or sad. This time of virus, isn't that making a lot of people angry and sad?
Yeah.
And there's a lot of violence going on in our country now. A lot of people are angry and upset and scared about some ugly treatment that's happened to the Black community and different peoples in our country. We can be good. We can be nice. We can find ways to care and find ways to help so that when the master comes, he will find us so doing. Not being lazy, just sitting on the couch. Do you think it's going to matter if God comes back and we say, well, I never punched anybody on the face. I just sat on the couch all day long. Is that going to help?
No.
No. In Matthew chapter 25, the next chapter, there's 3 parables. And those 3 parables are about getting up and doing work and doing it for other people. That's what we got to do. All right. Any questions about the parable?
Mr. Dan,
Mm-hmm.
I made the wine look red.
Me too.
Nice.
Yeah.
I'm gonna give his drunk friend red cheeks and a red nose. Or like lightly.
Yeah. All right. Do you have any questions about the parable? All right. Well, cool. I'm going to sign off, and I look forward to seeing you guys soon. Take care.
Yay!